Hey everyone, my name is Rachel Briner. I'm based in South Carolina and I'm part of the marketing team here at Click and Pledge. We want to welcome you to today's table talk on how to use the peer-to-peer designer tool. Our platform gives you endless possibilities when it comes to the look and feel of your organization's peer-to-peer site. So we wanted to show you ways to get started in designing pages. In terms of the main presenter for today, I'm pleased to have Gabriel Magda, our design team lead. He's actually based out of Romania, which I think is really, really cool. He will be guiding you through using widgets and teach you how to craft a beautiful looking page. In this webinar, we also have Oliver Meredith. He's from South Carolina and he's part of the marketing team. He'll be going over support options at the end, and Susan Higgs, the director of training, is from Mississippi and will be taking questions. Her team will be monitoring the Q&A area as well. So if you have any questions, definitely feel free to send them as you think of them. The goal is for you guys to come away seeing the power of our new peer-to-peer platform and the impact it will have on your fundraising goals. And with that, I'm actually going to pass it to Gabriel to begin showing everyone how to successfully create a beautifully designed peer-to-peer site. So with that, I'll let Gabriel take it away.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Rachel. So I am Gabriel Magda. My colleagues call me Gab. And I'm a lead designer here at Click and Pledge, and I'm pleased to present you a little bit the tool that we're having, the peer-to-peer site or the designer. So let me share my screen to get straight into it. I hope you can already see my screen, and I will guide you through a little bit this tool and give you some points of how you can design, or rather best practices for designing a good looking page. So you can start here in the dashboard, where you can choose a template or a single page. We have already 4 predefined templates that you can start with, or you can choose one, remove everything from the page, and start from scratch if you want. The first one is basically the default template that is assigned to all the users and all the campaigns and fundraisers and so on. And the rest are more complex, let's say, more suitable for organization or campaigns that have rich content pages. I've already opened one here. So what I did basically was I went to this view template, and then went into the campaign one, because we have home. So this is a page for, like a general presentation, a home page. Then we have a page for campaigns. We have a page for fundraisers. We have a page for teams. And we have like a custom page where you can add, I don't know, about us or whatever you think you need to add there. So I chose this one, the campaign one, actually, this one. I gave it a name, and then I clicked the download custom design. It downloaded it for me here in this area, and it's by default, it's downloaded as a draft, so it's not published yet. And I went into edit draft, and it opened me the page in a separate tab here, which I have opened. And as you can see, you already have some content here. This is a pretty functional page with which you can start designing your page. So let's say you have a campaign and you like this design and you want to, remove some stuff or add some other stuff. I will start with the top area. Here I can replace this. Actually, let me start by saying that we have three sections that you can add in a page. You have a row, you have a column, and you have a widget. So if you want to add a new row, which is the start, you can add here, add new section. So I'm adding a new section, and in here I can add columns. I can go into the settings of this row. I can move this row over the page, or I can remove it. So I will actually move it to the top. So I grab it from this little icon here, and I will just go up and up and up until I reach this point, and I will put it here. So now let's say I want to recreate this area at the top. So within this row, I can add a column. And for each of the three sections from a page, I have a setting section for each of them. So this one, the orange one, is for the section. So if you click this section settings, you will see the settings of this section. So actually, let me first remove this column here. And let me add the row again. I will move it to the top. Okay, here. And I can already go into the settings of this section. And the first thing I want to do, I want to add a different image than the one above. So I will click choose an image here, and I will pick this one. And the image is already here, but it's not quite visible. So also in the row settings, I will add a little bit of vertical paddings to it to reveal the image a little bit better. And then here, I will choose not to repeat the background, and I will choose to have a full image background. As you can see, it already starts to look better. I will also add this background overlay, which adds an overlay on the page, and I will give it a different color, like a darker one with a little bit of opacity. Okay, something, maybe a bluish one like that, and darker a little bit. Okay, and I think I'm happy with this one. And within this section, I will add a column, which is added here. And I will go into the settings of this column. And here I can increase the width of the column, or the offset, which is the distance from the left, which can be like that, but I will keep it here and expand it to the whole width of my section. And in this column, I can start adding already widgets. So as you can see here at the top, I have some text. So I will click this add new widget, and I can add a text widget, right? And actually, I don't like the fact that this widget in here has a white background. So I will go into its settings, and to the background color, I will decrease the opacity to 0. So now it's transparent. So I can go into this widget. As you can see, the text is not visible, so I will select everything and go into the text settings and make the text white, maybe bold, and align it to the center. And let's say people world. Okay, I've selected the text, and I will make it white again, because for some reason, I don't know, it didn't stay white, and increase the size of it. So I can go to something like 48, maybe. We help all children in need we help. Right, so I'm happy with this, and I can add another column. Actually, I will not add another column. I will add another widget within this column. So I can add another text, and I can say around the world. And I will follow the same steps as before. I will go into the widget settings and decrease the opacity to 0 and select this text, make it centered and give it like a yellow color, maybe something like this. Okay, and I will go into the settings of this widget and change the font to my secondary font. And I will talk about the settings areas because we have like 4 areas where you can set things up. But for now, let me just make this bigger, maybe something like 68, even bigger, probably 80. And you see, it already gets in shape. So now let me talk about a little bit of the settings. So we have 4 main areas where you have settings. The first one is here on the right, where you have some general settings, like the fonts, and we have 2 choices of fonts from the Google Web Fonts library, because the recommendation in design is to not use more than 2 fonts on a page. So don't overuse. This is one of the rules of design. Don't overuse fonts. Use maximum 2 fonts. 1 is good, 2 is enough. Then you have the preview campaign, which is the campaign that you want to preview in here. That will fetch the information from the dashboard. Then you can hide the share buttons here on the left. So if I choose this one, it will hide the share buttons. And then you have the main colors. We've already predefined some colors, and to show you how it works, if you click on one of these, the colors on the page will change accordingly. But of course, for the most part, you will have your own colors. So you can go in here and start choosing your own colors. Let's say your main color is it's something like red. So let's go with something like this, which is quite flashy, but okay. For the time being, it's fine. So I will copy this. And for the hover instance, it's when you hover over a button, as you can see, it's blue now. So I will choose a rather darker, well, I didn't copy this one here. Copy, okay, and I will choose a rather darker red, which will reflect in the design. Then you have a secondary color, which usually is the background of these widgets up here. So I can go with a darker gray like this. Then you have the complementary color, or what is called in design the accent color, which is usually used for call to action buttons. Like if you want to emphasize a button, you will use a complementary color. So in here, you can go with something like, I don't know, blue. Let me copy this. And for the hover state, right now it's kind of an orange. I will choose a darker blue like this. And as you can see already, we have a problem here with the text of this button. So what I can do here is go into the second setting sections, which is the widget setting sections. So if I click on this widget and I go on this button and I click on this button, it will open the widget settings. And here I have quite a lot of settings, but I will go straight to the bottom where I have the submit button settings, which is this one. And for the text color, I will choose white. And on hover, as you can see, it's dark, so I will choose white as well, because I'm happy with the hover state of the background. Here you have a lot of other options, like, I don't know, the border radius, which is the roundness of the button. But it's obviously not this one, it's for the buttons up here. So I will go here at the submit button settings. And for the border radius, let's say I want to have it like this, and I want a little bit of space to the top and to the bottom. So I can go to the top and bottom paddings, which is the inner spacing of an element. And I will increase that something like that. Let's say I'm happy with that. Here at the top, I can change the text as well. Make a donation. I can make the font, sorry, uppercase, but I don't usually recommend using uppercase, so maybe lowercase is better. I can increase or decrease the font size. So maybe something like that should be fine. So as you can see, this is the second round of the second setting sections that you have. You can also alter the section itself. For instance, if I click on this section settings, I can go in here and increase a little bit, maybe the top margins, something like that, or the bottom margins, but I don't need that at this point. And then I have the column settings, which are located here. And the section settings and the column settings are basically for when you define a structure of a page. Let's say I want to have something like this. So I will add a new section, then add 2 columns and go into the settings of this column and increase the size of it, something like that, maybe like this, and increase the size, the width of this section as well. So now I have a 2-column section here where I can start adding widgets. For instance, let's add, I don't know, something like a text in here and maybe a button in here. So this is basically the main areas where you can alter the content of a page. But I guess for the most part, you will be happy with what you have. You will only want to remove some stuff and add something here and there. And I want to point out a few let's say guidelines in design, which might be helpful for you. So the first one I can think of is to have enough content. So for instance, here, as you can see, this doesn't look that good because it's a little bit of unbalance between the left and the right column. Here I have quite a lot of content, but here I have kind of a white gap. So make sure you have enough content. For instance, for this widget, which is the campaign details widget, this is automatically, this is fetched from the database. So whatever you've put it here in the campaign infos, it will appear here in this widget. But then you can come in and add specific content, let's say for this campaign. I can add a new widget, let's say the text, and I will add some dummy text in here. And I don't know, increase the size of it. So I will select everything, go into the font settings and make it like 18, perhaps. So make sure you have enough content, and then make sure this content is balanced. So, you know, like in this case, you have enough content for the left and for the right. The third thing that I would mention would be to give elements a little breathing space. As you can see here, this text is too close to the upper image. So what I would do here would be either add a space here like that, or go into the widget settings and add a little bit of top margins, which it's not like the paddings, which is the inner space. The margins is the outer space. So if I add a little bit of top margin, it will distance this text from the image above, maybe a little bit more. Something like that should be fine. And I think I'm happy with that. Maybe I could add an image here at the bottom. Let's say I don't need this section here, so I will remove that. Maybe this one either also, and this section as well, because it was just me testing stuff. Now it starts to look a little bit better. Maybe I could add another image in here. Let's say this one as well. And what I would also recommend would be to keep images on their own line. Don't I've seen a lot of people floating the image you know, to the left and having the text flow around the image. I would recommend not doing that, but instead extending the image on the whole width of the container, or add an image widget, which you have here. If you add a new widget, you will see here you have an image. So you can either add that or add it within the text. One other rule would be, don't overuse colors. Use 2-3 maximum colors. As you can see here, I have a red, a yellow, and a blue. So honestly, I would drop this yellow here and make it perhaps white, because it's already too much color on my page. So let's make it white. So I will stay with this red and this blue, and use I'm using this blue as an accent color. Usually, if I want to emphasize an area or a button on the page, I would use this one, this color, to grab the attention of the user to that button. Also, don't use call to action buttons like make a donation and fundraise for us. Let's say you want this to be emphasized on your page. Don't use them next to each other, because people might get confused. They might think that it's the same button, they do the same thing. So use it, you know, if you want to emphasize this button as well and want to make it blue also. So this blue, it's what? This color. choose, okay. And if I make this one blue as well, as you can see, it already gets a little bit mixed in. If I'm, for instance, make it look more like the other one above. So let's see the border radius. They might already seem to be like the same button. So I would use this in a different place, like, I don't know, below here, or move it up here, or in some other area, you know, to make sure that it's not getting mixed in with the other call to action buttons. Of course, you should always use good images or videos, but when it comes to images, you know, they say if you, an image worth 1,000 words, but I would say a good image worth maybe 10,000 words. So make sure you have good images. If you don't, just search on Google. There are websites like Pixabay where you can find free images to use. Actually, this is the place where I took the images from. But if you have your own images and they look good, don't be afraid to use it. Make them big. Make sure people notice it, because nowadays people don't consume too much text. They tend to consume video content or image content. This is why memes are so popular nowadays, and YouTube as well. Don't overuse fonts as well, but this is going to be a little bit difficult with our designer, with our peer-to-peer site, because we've limited the choice of fonts to only 2, which you have up here. So limit yourself to 2 fonts. Use the primary font for all the text that you have on the page, and use the secondary one for stuff like titles. For instance, if you have title here, you can use the secondary one, which in this case it's not very readable, which takes me to another you know, guideline point. Use fonts that are readable. Users don't like fonts that, you know, they don't look good or it's difficult to read. Besides that, think about the fact that there might be people with visual impairments, so it might be difficult for them to use. So use classic, good looking fonts like the ones we have here, this one, or you know, you can go to Google Web Fonts, and at the very start you will have what they recommend, and I think here, no, they have something like, I can't find it, but they should have something like popular fonts or something. So use fonts like this here, which is the Google default fonts, for instance, for Android, or Open Sans, or, you know, fonts that are easy to read. Many of you might come and say, you know, I'm not a designer. So what I can recommend you in this case, just search for inspiration. Out there, there is a lot of inspiration, and I can already recommend you 2 websites where you can search for inspiration. For instance, it's Dribbble with BBB. And here you can search for something like, I don't know, grades. And you can find snippets of design that can inspire you, and try to recreate or take elements or ideas from this from these designs. These are designed by top designers around the world. And another website that I can recommend you, it's from Adobe, and it's called Behance.com. Here also they have very good designs. Let's try Fundraise. Maybe we can find something like this. And here you have a little bit more details on the design. As you can see, these designs look good. You can grab inspiration from these two websites. You don't need anything else. But if you want, you can also search on Google. I mean, Google, it's always a place to go when you have doubts or you know, you don't feel inspired. What else? Let's see. So I think that might sum up my recommendations for design. And I don't want to take too much of your time. So I hope you already have a good idea of how you can use this tool, and it's very powerful. You might need to spend a little bit of time if you want to really customize a design of a page, but I can assure you that it will pay off in the end, because you can create amazing things with this. And if you feel like you can't do it yourself, perhaps you have some interns that have design skills, and they can spend time designing stuff, or you can choose a default template, as I showed you here, and start from there. They already have a good start, so you can start from there and remove stuff that you don't need, and you know, just small touches like colors and fonts, and you should be done with it. And I will stop here. I will give it back to Oliver. And if you have questions, you can already ask. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you, Gab. Hello, everyone. Susan, I just wanted to see if there were any questions that came in through the Q&A section that you would think would be beneficial to talk about with everyone.
Sure. Let's start off, and I think it's interesting. Bill had a question that involves images, and actually yesterday at the office we had kind of a long discussion where we were talking about images used as background versus the image widget. So that might be I'll read you the whole question, Gab, but you know, I think that discussion might be helpful. But the question is, for the image, the padding is useful to see, but it would be easier if we could drag the image to whatever spot we want, similar to how Facebook does it for their cover image. Therefore, you do not have the cutoff at the top of the person's head, for instance. So maybe if you would talk about the difference between the background image versus the image widget.
Right. So, well, a background image, it's rather, as the name states, it's more suitable for backgrounds. Like in this case, I have an image, I choose an image that doesn't have text in it. It doesn't have a lot of content, and you know, you can put it as a background. It doesn't need to grab attention, right? But if you would like to have let's say an image that needs to grab attention, what I would recommend to do would be, let me remove this section and let me remove this one as well. I would add a new row, move it to the top, and add a column here, extend the column for the whole width of the section, and add an image widget And let me just replace it with another one. And I think we had in what we discussed yesterday, we had an image that is suitable for such a case, but I probably removed it. So, but yeah, I will just add another one from here. Let's say you want this image to be visible in the eye of the user. You know, I would recommend using an image widget instead of a background image for the row. And in this case, the image would be fully responsive. Of course, I can show you how it would look like on a mobile device. So yeah, just if you don't want to use a background image, just use the image widget. And of course, you can change the width of the column. But again, as I stated previously, keep the images on their own line. Don't put it along with other content like text, especially. So I hope this answers the question, and perhaps we can move to
Yes,
other questions.
and with that widget, maybe just point out again how it can be dragged to other locations. If
Yes,
needed.
you can either move the column, you can also move the entire section, or you can move just the widget itself. So if I grab the widget from here and try to drag it in here, it's now added here, right? So I have it as a widget within this column. And from here, I can move it perhaps at the top, I don't know. So to whatever location you want, you can move it with this little icon that says move widget. You can also move columns, which will move with the whole content within it. In this case, all the widgets. So if I move this column to the left, the whole content will move to the left. And I can also, as I mentioned previously, you can also move entire sections, but I don't have two sections here. But I showed you previously how you can move entire sections. You can grab it from here and move it out at the top here, right?
Right. And so with that that image that you were showing earlier that you added as a background, like you could drag that to a different area as well, right?
The background image, you can drag it only with the whole section, because
Within the section.
yeah, it's a background. If I'm adding here background image like this, let me quickly expand it and do this. So I can move it only vertically. So above this section that contains all the columns and all the widgets within columns.
Okay, great. Okay, so if you want the entire image, use the image widget. If you're just looking for a background and using the paddings, then you would go with the background option. Right,
Yes,
Gab?
exactly.
Okay. Also, there was a question about using videos instead of images. Do you want to point out the video widget?
Yeah, why not? Let me grab a video. Let me go to, actually, let's go to YouTube and also search for charity. And I have some videos here. So, because I want to grab a YouTube video, so I will copy the link of this video, and there are two ways actually of adding videos. You can add it within the text widget. So here I have a text widget, and actually I think we removed that, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, we can add it as a widget. So I will add a widget, and we should have somewhere video, right? And I have a default video here. I will go into the settings of this widget and replace this with my video, and it's here now. And you can have Pledge TV videos or YouTube, and you can increase a little bit the top margins here. You can also add a video that is full width. Let's see. So I add a column here. I expand it on the whole width, and I can add here a video widget. Go into the settings and paste that link that I've copied, and the video is here now. You can also go into the settings of the row and make the row, let's say, full height. No, don't replace full background, full width content. And now it's on the whole width of the page. But obviously it's too big, so I would stick with this. This is, as a maximum width, I think it's pretty good. So
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It does look a little bit better.
Yeah.
All right, and we have another question from Claire, and I think I'll be able to answer this one, but it's about, can we have an overall campaign with each of our chapters having their own 5K, for example? So both the local 5K page and its statistics and the overall campaign statistics are important, and both should be displayed on a chapter's campaign. We want our fundraisers to understand that they are involved in something so much bigger than themselves. So essentially, basically multiple campaigns, if I'm understanding this correctly, will be combined into a larger campaign total. So, and really the campaigns are the core of the platform. You know, when we're looking at this page, you know, that Gab is showing us, it's pulling the fundraisers that are associated with this specific campaign. So the campaigns and the templates work in harmony together. So in this particular situation where there's going to be multiple campaigns involved with a larger campaign, what I have been told is that this is going to be a feature that is going to be added to Salesforce. It's a feature called Clickets, I think is what they're calling it. But I know that it is on the horizon to have that available, and I can certainly see its use. You know, if you have, you know, fundraisers, if you're a nationwide organization, you have fundraisers in different communities, you know, people want to see how their community is doing, but they also want to see how it's all adding to the larger picture. So certainly I think this is that's a great example of, you know, showing how everyone's, you know, little efforts contribute to a much larger effort. So what I understand is that feature is on the roadmap, and I don't have any dates on that yet, but I can check into that. Any other questions, anyone? And then there's a follow-up question to that. Parent campaigns in Salesforce already handle this, but can it render on the Click and Pledge peer-to-peer page? Not yet. Not yet. So you're right. I mean, that is something that Salesforce can handle, and I think that's why they are looking at adding it to the Salesforce application first. But that is something in the works. And we can follow up with you more on that after this webinar as well.
All right, so I also want to highlight some of our upcoming webinars and other support options that we have regarding peer-to-peer sites. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Sorry, Gab.
Don't worry, go ahead.
All right, so right here on our website, under the support and resources tab, we have a peer-to-peer site support tab. On this page, we have all of our upcoming webinars. We have 2 more sessions of this webinar that we just had, the designer webinar. So if you have other teammates that you think could benefit from this, you can have them join here. We also have a Getting Started with Peer-to-Peer Sites webinar tomorrow and also February 9th with Susan and her training team, where they will go more into the background of peer-to-peer sites, setting up campaigns, a lot of stuff within the user portal. And then also this week, every day for the rest of the week, we have live support hours from 2 until 3 p.m. Eastern time, where you can basically just join the Zoom call and ask any questions that you have directly to Susan and get an answer right then and there. So this is a very valuable resource for you all. And what I'm going to do is put this in the chat area so that you guys have quick access to this link. The Zoom page is down here through this button if you want to join that call today, tomorrow, or anytime this week. And then also one thing I wanted to cover were just regular support options, which hopefully you all are all aware of. We have the free support tickets that you can submit at any time. We also have our knowledge base articles where we're updating a lot of our articles now with the new peer-to-peer platform. So there's some really good step-by-step guides in there. We also have our just typical daily live support if you have questions outside of peer-to-peer that you want answered. And then one other thing I like to highlight is the webinar archive, because I know we had some questions regarding the use of peer-to-peer and maybe, just big picture using peer-to-peer as a fundraising approach. And so a lot of these recent webinars that we have that are saved on this page, like our launch webinar, would be great if you just want to hear about big picture. And then the webinar that we just presented will also be on here, and I'm sure you'll receive a link of the recording if you want to watch again or share it with any of your teammates. So that covers it. I know as a team, we're really excited for this new era of fundraising. This platform was a really big release for us, and we are so excited to see everyone get creative on their pages and their peer-to-peer campaigns. That is all that we have for you today. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Thank you.